Our regular town council meeting is in session. One note I'd like to mention, our mayor is not well tonight, and we wish him a speedy recovery. I talked to him this afternoon. He didn't sound very well. At the last agenda meeting, he was under the weather, and I think it's gotten worse. In any case, the first thing we need to look at is the consideration of minutes. That would be for the call meeting, March the 18th, 2016, the agenda meeting on April the 27th, and the regular meeting of May the 3rd. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, being no corrections or additions to the minutes, I move to be approved as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
The minutes are approved. So I don't think there are any citizens' comments for tonight, so we'll move right along to the first item on the agenda, and that is a consideration, of Z 201603, a request to rezone property located at 919 Eastern Avenue from R10 to B1. This parcel is identified by Nash County Tax Parcel Number 3810050963449. And that is under the tab, the purple tab in our agenda. The Planning Board recommended approving the rezoning request. The Planning Board's consistency statement is attached for our review, and I assume we have all had a chance to look at it. Other business from the Planning Board, they adopted a motion to update the land development plan. This update will take place in the upcoming months and will require a joint public hearing prior to final approval, but that's henceforth coming. Do I hear a motion to approve the Planning Board's recommendation?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
All right, the motion is carried. The parcel is rezoned to B1. The next item on the agenda is consideration of advertisement of real estate tax liens for tax year 2015 in compliance with GS S105-369A of the Machinery Act of North Carolina. Once again, we've had a pretty good attempt at collecting property taxes. It's almost 98%, which is really remarkable. In compliance with this statute, we need to advertise this in a local paper. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Is there any discussion?
I would like to ask, since Ms. Hinton is here, the other Hinton, are any of these tax liens rollovers from previous years, or are they just for this year?
This is the current tax year.
This is the current tax year?
Yes, sir.
So that none of these are delinquents from years past?
No.
Okay.
And I notice we have a number of people who are on payment plans or payment agreements.
Yes.
How does that work?
Basically what happens is they will come into the town hall, sign an agreement with us that they make a certain amount of debt within a certain amount of time to get their taxes paid off, and they come in on a monthly basis and pay their taxes.
Who sets the amount?
We basically will, we try to get them all paid off in like 3 to 6 months to get them paid off, so we'll set it based on the amount they owe and just divide it by that.
Okay.
All the time.
I noticed that the outstanding amount is about $28,281. That's
That
a,
minus the agreements that was as of June, right, first minus all the agreements and what the outstanding is.
so that's the outstanding.
Right, that's
Okay. The next item on the agenda I guess is, let's see, the consideration of amendment to current sidewalk project. That would be under the yellow tab. Please refer to the attached budget amendment and map. The proposed sidewalk has been discussed as a possible project for several years. The town adopted a resolution requesting discretionary funds from the General Assembly in 2013, totaling $25,000, and applied for grant funding to install this sidewalk in 2015. These efforts have not been successful. Hence, Brian has made an attempt to find monies elsewhere in our budget to finance this sidewalk that will run from the Waffle House down to Nash Crossing Development. I don't know exactly how far that is, but anyway, the cost is approximately $17,000. If you want to look at the budget amendment on the pink tab, if you notice, monies have been taken from the streets fund, gas, oil, and tires in the amount of $4,500, thereabouts. Professional services, miscellaneous. Professional services comes from the Powell bill. Miscellaneous comes from streets. That wipes out that miscellaneous, doesn't it? Contractual services, that's from the Powell bill, and advertising comes from planning and development, and all the others come from planning and development. Anyway, the amount comes to $17,200.
I make a motion, we approve it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
The discussion is that money was found, it was found from the decreases in the other line items moved over to this to cover that amount
Yes, sir. We found it in this year's budget.
in this year's budget.
Yes, sir.
By doing this, we will, at that time when it's completed, along with the rest of the sidewalk project, we'll have sidewalks in place all the way from McDonald's to Walmart. That would be the link that's left that would give us full sidewalk all the way.
Okay. We have several other budget amendments. If you look at the blue tab,
We're not gonna vote on the motion.
We
Did we
vote-
vote on it? We didn't vote on it.
we had a motion and a second, but we did not, but all in favor, excuse me, I'm sorry. All in
Aye.
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 All opposed? It passes unanimously.
Right.
Okay, the next items are also budget amendments. And our finance director may want to help us shed light on this. The first one, is the general fund. Okay. Our clerk has informed me that we need to vote on the budget amendment for the sidewalk. We voted to do the sidewalk. Now we have to vote on the budget amendment for the $17,200. Do I hear a motion?
So made.
Make that motion.
And second? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. The motion's carried. We will amend the budget for the sidewalk to the tune of $17,200. The next budget amendment has to do with the general fund, the USDA loan. Our manager may want to shed light on that.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is voting on moving the money to just approve what we've already previously discussed in the form of a budget amendment for the money that we discussed putting down on the fire and police complex for the USDA.
Do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, the motion is carried. We will put money down to pay off the fire and police complex, and that's a big load off our debt. The next budget amendment has to do with the police department, and it's travel and education. Would you like to shed light on that?
This budget amendment covers the expenses for one of our police officers who does narcotics work to attend a narcotics conference for training for $500.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Move that we approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
The motion's carried to move $500 into the travel and education. Okay. The next budget amendment has also to do with the police department. We are taking money from gas and oil and tires, $19,000, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, would you like to expand on that?
Thank you. This covers multiple things. It's not just one allocation for $19,000. That's simply a total. This is for 3 radar units, 1 laptop computer for a police car, 2 light bars, and 16 ASP batons and the holders for the batons.
Did you save that much, you saved that much money in that line item this year
Yes,
to make that move? Great job, Chief.
In other words, we'll have plenty for gas, oil, and tires?
We did this year, yeah.
Okay, so, okay.
Move
Do,
to approve.
do I hear a motion?
I did.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, the motion's carried. The next item has to do with the enterprise department, water. Would you like to?
Like Mr. Baines touched on it.
Oh, I didn't see Jamie.
Yeah, he's out there.
Is that-
I'm not used to that
No,
post.
I just moved, to accommodate the electrical service at the DOC. They're changing out their generator, the Generac plant that furnishes electricity to our lift station. And what we got to do is we either got to change service and get service from Duke Progress, or we'll have to rent a unit while all of this renovation goes on. And the rental fee on this would way outweigh the repairs or the upgrade that we do to the station.
How long is this gonna take?
They're projecting about a month and a half. So we'd go without power at a 483 phase station for a month and a half that we'd have to generate power to. And what this does, currently, we buy the power from DOC, but through reimbursement, every time when they pay us their sewer bill, we have to reimburse part of it for power that's coming from them for the station. So we would no longer have to do that after this. We'd be buying straight from Duke Progress,
We don't have a portable generator that we can,
not a 483 phase.
not a 483
No. And we haven't had to furnish backup power for the station because it comes through a generated plant. And after this, we can still count their we'll still have a tie-in from DOC, but it will not be primary, it'll be alternate power source. So we still don't have to do a generator at that station, so then we still have 2 power sources.
That wipes out professional services. Can we afford that?
What we had projected to do in professional services this year, we have not done and don't anticipate in doing it in the remainder of the budget year, so. It's still there, yeah.
So that was one of those unexpected things
Yeah, very much so, yes.
from the Department of Corrections.
Again, yes.
Here we go again, right?
Yeah,
Here we go
yeah.
again. Do I hear a motion to approve this budget amendment?
So made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank y'all.
The next budget amendment comes from Planning and Development. Involves $20.
I think this is a testament to how tight sometimes we manage some of our line items. This $20 budget amendment goes to reimbursing our accounting technician for some mileage related to some educational training.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
So made.
I don't think that deserves any discussion. $20, we can approve that. Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
The motion's carried. Okay. So all the budget amendments are taken care of. The next thing we have is consideration of an ordinance amending the text of the Town of Nashville Code of Ordinances, Chapter 8, Business. And that's the blue tab. An ordinance amending the text of the Town of Nashville Code of Ordinance, Chapter 8, Business. I'm going to read the introductory part, and the rest of it's available online, I think. Whereas Town Council finds that NCGS Section 153A-134 has been amended by the North Carolina General Assembly to provide that the privilege licenses required by the Town of Nashville of local businesses may no longer provide for a tax, and whereas Town Council recognizes the amended statute continues to permit municipalities to issue business registrations for the effective regulation of commerce within those municipalities. And now, therefore, be it ordained by the Town Council of the Town of Nashville that the Town of Nashville Code of Ordinances be amended to reflect the following changes to Chapter 8, Article 2, Privilege Licenses. Okay, by deleting Article 2, Privilege Licenses in its entirety, by adding Exhibit A. Exhibit A, Article 2, Business Registration. And I'm going to ask that our planning director expand on this.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Privilege licenses are a thing of the past in North Carolina, and I think a lot of other municipalities saw value in being able to inventory and track businesses within their jurisdiction. So it's not a way to tax a business, it's more of a way to keep inventory of that. And it's something very common in North Carolina this past year, and so we're following suit on that. And a lot of the language you find is something that's provided to us by the Institute of Government and other municipalities, so we're following suit with that.
Does anybody have any questions concerning the ordinance? How much is, it's going to be a $20 registration fee,
That's what we're proposing.
and how much will that generate?
That's a loaded question because I don't really know how many businesses are here right now.
Okay.
Mr. Raper may have a better idea.
We have $5,000 budgeted in the revenue category
That's
for
what I
this
saw.
year. But until we go through a year cycle, it's going to be hard to anticipate exactly how much revenue, but we want to make sure that our estimates were conservative.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve this
So moved.
ordinance?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Is there any further discussion? Okay. Okay, we have one extra thing on our agenda, and that has to do with consideration of contract to audit accounts for fiscal year 15-16 between the Town of Nashville and May and Place CPAs. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at this, the contract. It's pretty much the same. The amount is that correct, 22,000? Okay. For some reason, I thought it was 25,000. Or maybe, okay, maybe not.
This is the same firm that we've used
Right.
for years past.
It is.
It has nothing to do with our other,
Mm-mm.
we've got plenty.
We're required to pass this in each year,
Yeah.
the standard language.
Do I hear a motion
So
to
made.
accept this?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Once again, we'll work with May in Place as our auditor. Well, we have our budget for 2016, 2017. I don't know if you all have had a chance to look at it. There must be a public hearing to address this, and I was talking to Mayor Street before this meeting, and we were talking about the agenda meeting on the 29th. Would that be a good time, do you think? Matt?
We would be required by law to obviously pass our budget before July 1, and based on when we've had our budget presentation, we can't have the public hearing any sooner than the 27th. So we only have a few day window to
Okay.
have it in the first place, so
The 29th would be
29th would
good.
be a good choice.
Okay.
And that's our agenda date, right? Right. We're gonna meet early like we did before? What time should we meet? How long should we take?
I would imagine would have had a chance to review it, pretty much. And also, we're going to have a chance to discuss it tonight, right? That's on the agenda. So if there are any questions that you have tonight, we can talk about it. We've got plenty of time.
So the hearing will be about 6 o'clock then or something like that? On the 29th?
That might be a good idea to start early. Is that okay with everybody?
6 o'clock.
Okay. Put that on your schedule.
Just, I have municipal service district letters that are out, and they're advertised for 7.
They're advertising at 7?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
We better stick to 7 then. Okay.
If he's already sent out letters.
Yeah.
Right. I had to do that 1 month before.
And
And
if
that's
we have
part
to
of
go
the
long, we'll
budget.
go long.
It's fine.
So, once again, the 29th for our public hearing, and it'll be at 7 o'clock. Okay, our manager's report?
Any discussion?
Okay. I have brought mine, I don't know if everybody else brought their.
I've got mine.
Okay. Pardon? Did you have any questions, Leah?
Mayor, I think all of us have been going through this budget in preparation for getting approved for the upcoming year. And I have already discussed some stuff with our town manager that I would like him to go back and take another look at and see if we can make an improvement, make an adjustment, or however you want to call it, to a certain line item that I think we have an understanding of what he's going to try to do for us. And I don't think we don't discuss it any further at this time.
Okay. Did anyone else have any questions?
I do have a question.
Okay.
If it involves changes to the budget with money, if we don't discuss it before the 29th, and we got to pass it that night, how much money is you gonna need to make this budget work? Just a question.
Do you have a question?
Well, it'd be based on what our prior discussions have been. It'd be reflective of the budget presentation unless I'm told otherwise. The adjustment I made to the schedule is from our budget presentation. The budget's been amended to reflect the increase from $5 to $10 for registration fees for parks and recreation. Other than that, there haven't been any changes from the original budget presentation from the last week.
Was it $10 we decided, or was it
That's
15?
what, he's talking about the park.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but we moved it from $5 to outside, from $5 to $10.
Was it 10 or 15? It was 10?
10.
Wow. Okay, great.
I had a question about capital projects. It's on page 56, well number 8. I don't know, where is is well number 8. Jamie?
Well, number 8 is on the West Nash Commerce Park site.
Okay.
We've got a section surveyed, and we are ready to do test drilling. We've had a lot of delays on the project. As y'all know, the first drill was not successful.
So
And-
this is the second attempt?
It's the second attempt on that property.
Okay.
It's at completely opposite from the first site that we took, and of course, we did water samples on adjacent wells, residential wells, to look for the element that we found in the initial well, and we did not find any of that same element. It was dichloropropane, and that was what was going to be so expensive to filter on the number 8 well at that location. So we're anticipating about a location where we're at now. So, and we are ready to move with it right now. With other stuff has kind of delayed it, but as soon as the budget year comes in, I hope we hit it, start back on that project.
And the cost of that well is?
I've got the quotes right now, and I'm not prepared. I'd hate to throw out a number right now and it'd be wrong, but I could get that to you.
What's that?
Jamie, dichloropropane, what does that
Yeah.
come from? What is and where?
It's naturally in the environment, or can be. Initially what we thought, because it is a farm location, that dichloropropane is also used in like gas and plant beds. But the depth that we went, in hard granite, is usually not anything that hit the surface like that would never be on the depth that we do. So what I've been told from everybody, it was probably naturally in the environment. We just happened to hit, a bad spot that it could be at. So
Does any of it show up in any other wells?
none of the adjacent wells that we tested positive for dichloropropane. So.
How far did we get with the first well before we realized that it was?
Well, you
Bad.
initially, the thing that you're looking for is gallons per minute, and our target amount is 37 gallons a minute or better. 37 gallons a minute means it's a feasible well, that it could be, a profitable well for us to run, or could sustain its own self and be a good water source for us. We got like 48 gallons a minute on that drill. And then after you establish that, that's when you go back and have to put another pump in and do testing and all of that. So, and really, the quotes and everything on a well, you really don't know, because it is a shot in the dark. You don't know how far you're going to have to go to hit the water and everything. So, pricing on a well is difficult. So, and the other part is the testing. And the testing is very expensive. So, but we want to know. We want to make sure we got safe water. And we're very fortunate to have all of our other wells that we don't have to do a lot of filtration. We just pretty much do disinfection on all our other wells, and that's what we hope for in the next drill. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
I had another question about debt service. This is on page 27. Yeah, the sewer vac, our balance is $293,699, and the required principal is $35,600, and interest is around $5,000. Okay, so the total payment is $40,000. And it says the payment period is monthly,
That's right.
so we pay that much monthly?
No, that's simply reflecting how often we make a payment. So that column that says required principal and required interest, those are reflective of what we pay for the fiscal year.
Okay, so that's an entire year.
That's an entire year.
Okay, but we make monthly payments on that.
Correct.
Good. I was thinking if we paid that much every month, that thing should have been paid off like that. Okay, good.
And that's paid out of our enterprise.
Great. Well, okay, thank you. That clears that up. But do you see how misleading that is?
Yeah.
I mean, because if these others are semi-annually, and that tells you annually. So, I mean, that's pretty clear. But if this is monthly, I think about monthly payments.
Sounds like something we shouldn't have bought.
Anyway, so that just needed a clarification. I mean, any other questions about the budget? That brings us down to manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. In the Parks and Recreation Department, we're going to have on June the 11th, Cooper's Fire Department Family Day at Glover Park. On the 18th of June, we'll see a tennis camp at Stony Creek Environmental Park. And on June the 21st through the 23rd, we're going to have baseball and girls softball camps. June 22nd, disc golf camp at Glover Park. We're also going to have a visually impaired softball game fundraiser at Glover Park on June the 25th. And later in that evening, we're going to have the Braswell Foods movie night at Glover Park. And on June the 28th, there's going to be a recreation advisory meeting at 6 p.m. In our police department, I'd like to highlight a trip that I had with Mr. Corbett and our police chief this past week. We went to a drug treatment facility called TROSA in Durham. It's a place that we have previously made referrals and will continue to do so with our Hope Initiative project. And it truly was an impressive facility and one of the best around. Really special opportunity. We got to see what goes on there and see the lives that are being touched and improved through the works at this facility. And also highlight that Chief Bashore has been working with the Roanoke, Virginia Police Department in helping them start their own program similar to our Hope Initiative in the state of Virginia, which has also been highlighted in the Richmond Dispatch newspaper. In our finance department, Ms. Yvette Hinton attended the basic purchasing class at the School of Government in Chapel Hill. And as of May 31st, we can report that our tax collection rate is 97.91%. In our fire department, I want to thank the efforts of all of our volunteers and career and part-time staff for everything they've done to help us with our insurance rating that we've had over the past few weeks. There's been a lot of lead up, a lot of paperwork, a lot of efforts gone into that, and over the next 60 days we'll hear back on what our rating is going to be. That's something that's rated from 1 to 9, and you want the rating to be as low as possible, so 1 being the best, 9 being the worst. Currently we are rated a 4 inside the town limits and also outside in our fire district. And it's been about 15 years or so since we've had our last rating inspection done. So it's something that when you do have it done, you want to make sure you put your best foot forward. In our Harold D. Cooley Library, I want to commend Katie for the efforts that she's undertaken. She's really hit the ground running since she came aboard. She scheduled 3 reading therapy dogs to visit consistently in June through August, each Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 10 to 12 a.m. and 2 to 4 p.m. Learning and/or struggling readers may come in to read to a dog of their choice. Parents will need to sign up their child for a 20-minute block of time prior to the day of the dog's arrival. There will be a sign-up sheet available at the front desk, and we are pleased to have had the therapy dog program featured in the Nashville graphic and look forward to seeing you come into the library. And also like to commend Katie for her efforts. She's hit the ground running on trying to redo the Dewey Decimal System in the library, which is a significant undertaking for any library. And in our planning department, I'd like to highlight that the Municipal Service District informational meeting was held on May the 11th, and we had 11 property owners attend that. Everyone's comments were positive, and a public hearing will be scheduled for June the 29th. The district will allow the town to provide services and projects in the downtown area with approximately $21,000 of generated revenue. And finally, I'd like to highlight that Tina Price attended the Certified Zoning Officials course at the School of Government during the past month and successfully passed her certification examination. Thank you.
And you're going to give us a copy of that? Oh, those memos. We always appreciate the memos that our manager gives us about what's happening in town. Sometimes it may seem insignificant, but to me, it's all important. I like the update, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. If that's it, we'll go to council comments, and tonight I'll start with Michael Coleman.
Okay. Look, I just like to say it's a great time to live in the town of Nashville. I really appreciate, Hank, all you've done this first year, getting this budget together for this upcoming, it's a daunting task to come in and do such a thing, and you've really hit the ground running, like I said, and all the staff that helped support you in doing this budget. And it's tight times out there, but just, I had a couple of things I want to say. I started out by saying it's a great time to live in the town of Nashville. Moving into the next fiscal year, how great is it that we've just paid off a huge debt burden on our residents, taking that off the books that would have cost us principal and interest for the next several years that we don't have to worry about. We have a new plan for repaving more streets going into the next year, new investment in our sewer lines to get rid of a lift station, started a drug initiative this past year that's recognized around the state, doing away with parks fees for our children, and all the future projects that we see popping up around town, of course, with the building that's going on and all the buzz of people wanting to be in the town of Nashville. And, in proposing a 2% cost of living increase for all our town employees, all without increasing our taxes. And so I think that's to be commended on your behalf and on staff's behalf. And I'm honored to be on a council in a town such as Nashville that is moving forward. So, thank you.
Blaine?
Okay. I like to echo some of the same things that he said. It's a privilege to sit on a board when we can sit up here and make these budget amendments like we just made a few minutes ago. And we're able to do it and find money to make some last minute changes simply because our department heads were frugal enough to make good decisions and end up with some money still left in some line items. He mentioned that our Hope Initiative, I'm sitting looking at TV the other night, and some state, you said we're known statewide? No, we're known out of the state for doing this, because another, I think Maine is where it originated. Is that right, Chief?
Gloucester, Massachusetts.
Gloucester, Massachusetts, up there. They were talking about it. It was on the national news the other night. And it made you feel good to sit back and say, well, look, we got the same, we got it in Nashville, and it's going full swing. And everybody's talking about it, and everybody wants to get on board with it. But I'd like to commend all of our department heads, those that are here, and those that are not here. Because without them working along with our town manager, we wouldn't be where we are right now. I think we've had a great year in the past, and I have no doubt that we're going to make it through the coming year. Hank, I know myself have thrown some crazy requests to your way every now and then, and I just bounced one at you tonight. But I have no doubt that we won't work through this. I'm quite sure we will for the betterment of town. And something other than the budget hadn't been mentioned, and I'm going to mention it. One of our past board members and planning members, I'm quite sure everybody knows, had a heart attack, went into cardiac arrest, let's put it this way, a couple of weeks ago. And I made a phone call to his wife. I spoke with her yesterday or the day before. And I'm talking about Mr. McBride. He was in very, very, very bad condition when he went to the hospital. And I was surprised to learn from Mr. McBride the other day, he's in rehab at Autumn Care and is doing great. So prayers do count. That's all I have. He still need to keep praying for him.
I couldn't say it any better than you guys did. Y'all did good.
Thanks.
With that being said, I'd have to agree. Nashville's a great town. Got a lot of good citizens and an excellent staff. I'd put our people up against anybody. That goes for the guys who work out in the street department, utilities. They do a fine job. They work hard. It doesn't get too hot or too cold. It doesn't rain too hard. They go out and do the job. And so that's my closing statement. Thank you.
On a closing note, I'd like to say I hope everybody had a chance to vote. We had a primary. It was a small primary, and it was a forced primary as a result of redistricting, but still it was significant, and I'm afraid that the turnout may not have been good, but I hope everybody took an opportunity to vote, because there was more than just a congressional district. It also involved judges. So anyway, that's very important. And also, yesterday was the 6th of June. And sometimes I think people don't realize that, 72 years ago, about 160,000 young men stormed the beaches of Normandy, and around 10,000 died that day. Every once in a while, we need to pause and think about that, because at that time, that was the year I was born, 1944, we had a war going on in 2 theaters, in the Pacific and the Atlantic. And it was truly a world war. And every once in a while, we really need to pause and think about that, because so many of the men and women who were involved in World War II are passing. And one of ours here in town, and I'm sure there are others, but one that I personally know is Mr. Willard Insco, who's 100 years old. And he was in World War II. So yesterday was a day we need to stop and pause and think about. Anyway, thank you for letting me preside in the absence of Mayor Street. Without any other comments, do I hear a motion that we adjourn?
So made.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
We are so adjourned.